to those who organised this meeting. I enjoyed the first panel discussion enormously. I'm enjoying this one too. It's great to be here. I know the city very well, or at least I knew it between, I'm just trying to remember now the exact dates, probably it was, 77 to 1990, when Kenny Dalglish played for Liverpool. So my team, Glasgow Celtic, prematurely, as we always do, sell our best players. So we sold our best player, and I followed him to Liverpool and came here regularly. I'm sorry if that offends and alienates me from the other half of the city, but I spent a lot of time in this part of the world now, and I'm pleased to be back. I don't get opportunities to come back nearly often enough, but it is a much changed city, I have to say, from those days. So the second point I want to make is, if I had written this book, I would feel better about it. I want to encourage people. I hope I'm not bringing coals to Newcastle for people, but if you haven't already read this book, then you should read it. I mean, for two reasons: because it is beautifully written, it is a linear narrative of Brexit for Ireland, and it covers all of the complications of the things that we will be engaging with. I'll leave it here and people can come and take a note of it. So I got it recommended to me, and I bought it electronically and read it, and then I bought it and carry it around with me. Not because my Irish roots cause me to be obsessed about Ireland, Brexit and the United Kingdom, but it does to some degree, but because it is a microcosm of what our island is going through as well. If you substitute for Ireland Britain in the parts of the book where it appears and substitute the EU for Britain, then you get exactly the story that we are going through, the complexity of it, which is stunning, and the degree to which we are integrated. We've already had some people explain that to us, the way in which we trade or don't trade nowadays, but the complexity of it is stunning. So that's the second point I want to make. The third point I want to make, and I'll make this very quickly, I have, after Helen and Kula introduced me to some young people from Ireland, I have sought out young people from Ireland to talk to them. And I was in Washington yesterday. I was in Washington doing the other work that I do, which I don't need to go into, earlier this week. And when I'm there, I commonly contact my friends who are in the Irish Embassy and in the Northern Ireland Bureau, because I was a minister in the Northern Ireland office at one time, and I know some of these people personally. And I joined them with a group of Irish students from Queen's Belfast who were there, in a joint project with some students from the American University. I joined them to have a discussion about Brexit, the Good Friday Agreement, and Northern Ireland. And it was striking. These were not as young as the people you introduced me to, Kula, but it was striking because this was a group of young people, who were wrestling with the consequences of Brexit, the issues, with the impact of it, and feeling clearly the full impact of something that those who were from Northern Ireland didn't vote for. This was something that was imposed on them in terms of who they are. And, I think that's the first point about Ireland, which is striking for those of us who've been involved in Ireland, and in particular in the ongoing peace process that is Ireland. And this is the same throughout these islands, but, there are young people of voting age in Ireland, both in Ireland, as we should call it because of the Good Friday Agreement, and Northern Ireland, who weren't even born when the Good Friday Agreement was signed. And they're fortunate not to have remembered or lived through any of the horrors of what we call the Troubles. But they certainly recognise the value of the great prize of peace that was secured in 1998. And they want to see the benefits of the agreement protected and advanced. And they suffer from a double whammy at the moment of having Brexit and no Stormont. And the combination of these two things, the failure of the power-sharing government installment wasn't caused by Brexit, but it has been exacerbated by Brexit through the medium of a Prime Minister who sacrificed her slim majority in an unnecessary election and has now done a confidence and supply deal with the singular group of politicians on these islands who are the most unionist and the most hard Brexit. And consequently, in my view, and this will prove to be the case, I fear, denied the government the opportunity to be an honest broker in Northern Ireland to resolve these issues. So this complication has downsides for everybody on these islands, and all of us who contributed to or supported this process, but it has massive ongoing downsides for defeating the expectations and the promise that we have imbued in future generations. And Kula introduced me to a group of young people from a conference that she and her equivalent officer in Ireland created. She will talk about it. I'm not going to steal her thunder because it's her work. But you should read the report of that, and if you get a chance, meet these young people. So our Brexit 2, I think it's called, Children's Rights, Children's Voices. And these young people very astutely and very acutely identified the issues that will impact on their lives, particularly those that live in the border area. You know, where life has been transformed for them simply because we and Ireland joined the European Union together, and the European Union was there supporting throughout the whole process of us trying to resolve that intractable violence in Northern Ireland. So in areas of education and child protection and freedom of movement and family life and in health, they've got extraordinary processes. Release these people from the kind of drag effect that the politics of identity has upon you because of the Good Friday Agreement, and they are watching this potentially disappear. Now, that is why, from the point of view of many politicians, particularly in the House of Lords, the Good Friday Agreement and the Irish border is the epicentre of the debate about Brexit. So I joined the House of Lords, and I told the Prime Minister, who said he would like me to go in there, I said, if I get an opportunity to vote for its reform, I'm going to vote for it. I'm not so sure now.